Maverick, workaholic, perfectionist, and earthy chutzpah, or overbearing, impatient, or even authoritarian and pugilistic. Choose your adjectives, but there would be no Larsen and Toubro without Anil Manibhai Naik, or simply A.M. Naik. His critics have always been scathing about his imperious leadership style, but there is rarely a persona as unique as Naik in the history of corporate India, who has created such value for his stakeholders while growing the business in India as well as overseas. L&T has gone far and wide during his 6-decade association with the company, of which nearly a quarter of a century as CEO and managing director, constructing iconic projects that includes India's first nuclear submarine to Abu Dhabi International Airport Complex, and now even working with Saudi Aramco, the world's largest oil producer, to make a refinery in the kingdom. In the same period, the company's stock price has skyrocketed 17 folds. Revenues catapulted 36 times. But Naik, ET's Lifetime Achievement Award winner, is not someone who is sitting idle even after he's handed over the reins to his successor S.N. Subramanian last September. He's building bridges of another kind these days through his work in philanthropy. It's Tuesday, 19th of March. From the Economic Times, I'm your host, Arijit Barman, and you're about to listen to a frank and fearless A.M. Naik in this candid conversation on The Morning Brief. Mr. Naik, thank you so very much for talking to us. It's an honor for Economic Times to give you the Lifetime Achievement Award for Corporate Excellence. Richly deserved, much awaited, and now you have it.
Thank you very much. It's really an honor and privilege.
Is there any award left for Mr. A.M. Naik to win now?
This was possibly the last one.
That's it. Abhi, sab ho gaya.
I had 89, this will be 90. I'm getting 6 doctorates from the university and 5 I have, and this will be the last.
Okay. But I wanted to start our conversation, with 3 projects that I'm sure you're very proud of. Mumbai Trans-Harbour Link, the light rail transit system in Mauritius, and Abu Dhabi International Airport Complex. Is there any one project that is especially close to your heart that gave you maximum satisfaction?
I see we do a lot of hydrocarbon projects. Now we have, which gives me a great pride because I started it in 93 with an engineering company established. Behind that, I got EPC, engineering project construction, procurement and construction. And 97, we got qualified. 97, there were inquiry, the tender for 12 clean fuel projects, clean, and we got 7. That's how we started. We completed in time in 2000, and now I'm very proud that we got 25,000 crore single order from Saudi Aramco, not India, Saudi Aramco.
To build a
refinery.
In Saudi?
Yes.
Wow.
We have become a true Indian multinational.
True.
There is no other in engineering, construction, project, and so on. There is no other company which can compete near us. And now we got a 10,000 crore order from Qatar, again in petrochemical, followed by another 15,000 crore order from Saudi Aramco. So we have just in hydrocarbon 1,20,000 crore backlog, which used to be 0. So it has started from 0, like IT. I started from 0, like engineering services. I started from 0. Your nuclear fabrication or space program, or entire defense, what you read of, all started from zero by me during my tenure. And then, of course, the real estate development and railways and power, and the story goes on.
True.
Whatever we have done, we have reached to the level where I had foreseen.
Now, you talked about the Trans-Harbour Link, which is, of course, a mega achievement. And I live in Shuri, where I can literally see.
And you are going to be in. You are going to be in half an hour with that.
I know, and I can see the speed at which construction is happening, and it's remarkable. I want to take you back many years and talk about another bridge. And I want to ask you this, because I've read about this story many times. Is it true that L&T really built a bridge for the film The Bridge Over River Kwai, which is an iconic film?
That was in 1948, completed in 50.
Correct.
But we did that.
Yeah. In Ceylon, I think, where it was being shot.
Yes.
And apparently the foundation of the bridge was so strong that the explosive charges did not work. So the engineers again had to literally use hammer to break the foundation so that they could actually use the explosives and shoot the final scenes.
Because the bridge had to come down.
Correct.
It was too strong.
And L&T bridges don't.
It was too strong, so we loosened the bolts a little bit so that it falls.
So from bridges to stock markets, when you took over in April 99, your share price was 197 rupees. Today it's around 3,400 rupees, roundabout. Between 99 and 2023, your revenue rose from 5,000 crore to 1.83 lakh crore.
It will be 2.1 lakh this year.
Okay.
But let me tell you about the stock.
Yeah.
I think better to talk because that stock had very few shares.
Correct.
And our market cap was 4,000 crore. That is less than 4, but I'm saying 4. That's why it was easy prey for people who were strong in financially to take over.
Correct.
Because L&T, nobody had any stock, and it was zero with L&T or its associate or its founder.
Yes.
And therefore, the story is well known that two different organizations tried to take over.
Yes.
I was in the middle of the last one.
Yes.
Of course, I was in the middle for 15 years, but I kept cool. But I was strong enough to do what I wanted to do. And I think the most important achievement, if you ask me, is saving L&T.
Not once, but twice.
Not the same L&T.
Correct.
L&T was about to go to...
First Dhirubhai, then Kumar Mangalam. Those two events, if you look back, did that change you in any which way?
On one hand, I had a role to play to save L&T. On the other hand, I also had a role not to lose them as our customers. Because everything in Reliance is done by us. Everything in Birla is done by us. So in one pocket, I had L&T saving. Another pocket, I had to continue with these two customers.
Correct.
And I handled it well.
True.
In the sense that we saved L&T, we made win-win situation. And on the other hand, both are our number one customer even today. 2003, when I finally made the settlement with Mr. Birla, he got up. I also got up. We shook hands. And he said to me, Mr. Naik, do you know what you have done? L&T should have your name in gold whenever the history is written and rewritten.
How did you handle people's egos? Because, two of these families were also very large industrial families who wanted L&T as a prize. You came in the way. Obviously, you're passionate about L&T and you did what you had to do. Usually, people lose friendship over simple things as human ego. Yet you maintained the relationship.
It's a question of how you do what you do and basically build respectability.
Correct.
Which is long-lasting.
True.
When it comes to Mr. Mukesh or Kumar, I dealt with them very gently. And 14.95% they give us, and I formed a separate trust, L&T Employees Trust. And by the way, from zero, it is now 70,000 crore. I'm the chairman of that. Like Ratan Tata is the chairman of Tata Trust. Difference is employees own this.
Yes.
And Tata Trust is owned by the company. The first thing I've done, elevated the trust to a level where people are going to die for the company if anything happens.
Correct.
Nothing is going to happen because we are the biggest shareholder now. We own 17%. So there's a great feeling, it was almost gone.
True.
Almost gone.
True.
And I had 2 years of fight in the boardroom, but I never lost temper with them or they never lost with me. Each one had to do their job.
True.
So that is how I manage the relationship as a customers and what I had to do for L&T.
Now, you talked about the numbers, the revenue numbers over the years.
By the way, 5,000 crore of a market cap of 4,000, though you only said 193 to 3,400, but I gave 4 bonus.
True.
So the one share became 9 shares.
Yes.
So 3,400 is really 3,200.
Yeah.
193 to 32. More than 100 times.
Right. And 5,000 crore to, as you said, almost 2 lakh.
No, I just calculated 5,59,000.
Okay.
And today it will cross 5,70,000 if the market remains as buoyant as it is now. Everything I have done more than 100 times. So 100 is the minimum.
Right. But beyond those hard numbers, the percentages, there has been a lot of blood, sweat and tears for you and for the team.
I believe in devotion, passion, conviction, anality, and commitment. And if you have that 4, you can win anything. And of course, I worked for 55 years, 57 years, 15 hours a day. First 21 years, when I was the young, many times in Powai, I have slept on the table whole night. Because I was working for sometimes 18 hours, sometimes 22 hours, but average 15 hours.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Never took leave for 21 years. And 7 days a week. When I was in college,
right,
my dream was to join a company through which I can serve the nation from the beginning.
True.
So when I graduated, I tried for Larsen Toubro, but I was not called because I was not IITN.
Yeah.
I was in Anand. That was much earlier, started 1948 in Vallabh, the oldest engineering company after VJTI. But no, it was not IIT. But after 1.5 years in a smaller firm, but it was also fabricating boiler, I appeared for interview because I joined the Parsi firm. I went up like this there and became total in charge at the age of 22.
You talk about work, and clearly, as you said, the work is worship for you. But do you expect the same from those you have been grooming? Is that how you judge them?
Not necessarily. See, in IT, people don't work. But if there is a project estimating that we have to bid, they can work up to 10 night and finish it. The rest of the days, they go at 5:30 or 6 at home. That is the trade, which is a different world altogether. Yeah, at one time, they were being paid when I started the company 4 times of L&T, and these people had to go to Himalayas and work there during winter when there is a snowfall because they have to work all year. So I said, they are unfair. That people who are working the hardest get 1/4. That is how I started stock option. Now they don't regret. They get more than
IIT guys. Correct. But as you said, you didn't go to IIT or an IIM. Would your then CV cut it today for someone hoping to be the CEO of L&T? Would your CV make it to be enough?
If you have devotion, passion, conviction, and commitment, you can still go from Anand and become the chairman.
Even today?
Even today.
Even on a company like L&T? You don't have to be an IITN or an IIM?
Even on the company like L&T. After 18 months, a company I wanted to join, L&T, I came to L&T.
Correct.
Right? I was introduced by a Britisher. And he offered me 760 rupees, supervisory B grade, and assistant engineer. Then he said, but before I can do anything, you have to go and meet the old man. Old man was his boss, but he was much younger. When I went to meet the Mr. Hansen, Hansen was very, very, you can say, soft-spoken. So among maybe 15, 20 minutes I was with him, he asked one question, how many people report to you? So I said about 400. Oh, that is a lot. It will take long time before you can get such responsibility in Larsen Toubro. My English was not so good. I came from village. I worked very hard. I used to think in Gujarati and convert in English. If you hear in Gujarati, it looks very good. But in English, if you convert, I said, who knows, time will tell. This is what I told him. Within half a minute, he asked me to leave the room. So I thought that now he will not take me. Then Mr. Hansen came out, ekdam mumming and huffing. Then he took me up to his room. And then he says, my sonny boy, you a little toned down. He said, old man thinks you are overconfident. And therefore he has told me, you can't be taken as an assistant engineer, but junior engineer. 670 rupees, not 760. Unionized cadre and not management cadre. And he was kind of apologetic. And you know my reply? I said, sir, don't feel apologetic. I accept because my life dream was to join Larsen Toubro. I accepted, and Mr. Baker was very relieved. Now, as I was going out at the door, he said, one minute, sonny boy, come here. He said, do well. If you do well on confirmation in 6 months, I promise you, I'll give you what I have committed. I did so well that he gave me. So, if you have a devotion, passion, conviction, and commitment, anybody can go to the top. If the man who was selling tea on the railway station can become prime minister, that's a real example. Anybody, if he has the capabilities, he can become.
In India, however, we've seen largely promoter-led companies where father, son, then grandson. Yours is one of the very few companies which have been professionally run.
Only company.
Right. Now,
ITC, you can say.
Or ICICI banks.
ICICI bank, I'm not talking of banks. Industry.
Right. Now, if for a country like India, which is a better model, you think? Promoter-led or professionally led, and why?
Well, in my view, if the promoters lead and act like a promoter and let the management be handled by professionals, right? And they only do board position and overall overseeing as different from doing. I think that model can work because you can't wish away from that. There are people who invested in a company maybe 100 years ago, and that man is no more, so he had his son. Professionalism was not prevalent then. It is only last 50 years. So according to me, that model can work, which now the owners have started doing, many. And our type of model is rare. America, there are many companies, our type. Can you believe out of this, Harvard and all have approached me, how did you make 0 to then 62,000, now 70? I said, that we'll talk some other day.
But the loyalty that you had, the devotion that you had, today's, it seems it's important for people to leave a job after 2 years. The work culture has changed, and changing jobs, switching jobs seems to be how India functions, how young India functions.
Well, that's largely in the other industry, IT industry and financial industry. See, our type of company, one vertical has 14% attrition, but ECC has even today 7% because there is no company to go from ECC which is better than us.
Among all the businesses, you have at one point in time 152 lines of businesses clubbed into 63 SBUs. I'll come to the restructuring part in a minute, but what was the toughest vertical for you to build and sustain?
See, it is like this. If you want the number one or two position in the global scenario, all look tough because you want to achieve ultimate. If you want to achieve up to here, they don't look tough. And I have gone beyond my own expectation because of my team. Main thing is what I left here also, I had a habit of doing 3-4 things. I leave that, give it to the president of each company, each vertical, and I told them now, make sure it is at least 1 billion. Because I would not give you recognition of a vertical unless it's 1 billion. Now, everybody has become 3 billion each. And we are now, how much? The market cap, I just calculated, is 60 billion or more. It was 1 billion, not even that. So, according to me, no vertical is easy and no vertical is very tough. Depends on what you take as a norms of where you want to reach. And I never wanted anything but global positioning.
One would say that probably building or scaling the financial services business was the toughest.
It was started in 94 when I was not CEO. So that is only one business which I was not too much involved. Even after I became a chairman, the person who was appointed as a chairman was the CFO of L&T. I only appointed him. But he was feeling he can run it. So I left it. In my view, if L&T has not done very well in one business, that is L&T Finance. But I'm happy. I knew it is going to come up. I knew. Because we have taken series of measures now in last 3 years. We replaced the chairman. He continues as a member of the board. But I put SN, before he became chairman, I put SN Subramaniam as a chairman of that. And we made many changes. From a wholesale financing business and real estate, we are now coming to retail financing and rural finance. So I think it will come up. I have no doubt. Now with our vision, see, we had 90% wholesale and 10% retail. Now we have come up to 75% retail and 25% wholesale. Our idea is 100% retail and zero wholesale. I think it will happen.
Correct. In 2011, you decided to split the group into 9 virtual companies because it was a very complex organization at that point in time. 152 lines of businesses clubbed into 63 SBUs. There was a plan at that point in time to spin out each one of them and list it. Other than tech services and financial services, which were then subsidiaries, we haven't seen the big verticals like shipbuilding, heavy engineering, hydrocarbons getting listed.
I think there is a lots of interdependency between the groups. We never had 156 businesses, maybe some chota mota it may be. But I closed all of them. If you see, during my time, I cleaned up. Now what has remained is 1 billion plus. There are some which are maybe 500 million, but we have kept for some strategic reason. And that time in 2000, I appointed BCG, Boston Consulting Group, and first time in L&T we started strategic planning. We never did strategic planning. and I formalized annual budget planning.
Mm.
And in that strategic plan, we decided to form the vertical. It was not in 11, it was in between 2000 and 2005. But that vertical, like ECCA was only one, where from Subramaniam came. They are a separate company. It was subsidiary. They had a separate logo, ECC. And it went on till 2006, when the construction head came to me and he said, you have verticalized the rest of the company and they are doing well. Can we do the same in ECC? I said, of course. They had a regional setup. This is what I think you are mixed up a little. There were 9 regional you can say 9 ECC regionally. I removed that structure, made ECC 1 and ECC 2 to start with. Then I went, see, one project manager asked me to come to IIT where we were building a hostel.
Mm.
I'm talking about maybe 20 years ago.
Mm.
And then I realized, he told me, I asked him, how much is this hostel? He said, 12 crores. What is the profit? He said, I don't know. He didn't say, I don't know, but he said, sir, I really don't know about it. Are you within your cost center? You should know. He said, more or less. Then I went back to my office, asked the finance department. I'm talking 2006, early 2006. And they came up. I said, to provide 25 crore up to that job, what is our profitability? And except some project only, we were having 25 crore plus. Today, we don't take a job unless it is 1,000 crore. But those days is where I entered in 2006. None of them expected that what we were doing 5 crore, somebody's house, somebody's hostel, this, that. We have come to today, the global companies respect us. Now, the ECC, I verticalized and it became ECC 1 and 2, then 1, 2, 3 following year, then 1, 2, 3, 4 following year. Now, water is a vertical. Water was SBU. SBU was up to 1,000 crore. When dollar was 50 rupees. 2,000 crore is strategic business group. And then comes a vertical, which we call it business vertical.
Mm.
So, ECC 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm.
One is heavy civil, which does all this, what you just mentioned, those projects.
Correct.
And only most difficult project. Now, the bullet train from Bombay to this, 80% we are doing. And that is done by ECC heavy civil. Then came building and factories.
Mm.
You may not realize building has many different things. There are buildings which are commercial building. There are buildings which is government building, like hospitals and all that. We build majority of the hospital of government where it is 5,000 beds, but they can't manage it well operationally. Right now we are doing in Bombay, Nanavati Hospital, if you know, that will become iconically most modern hospital. We are doing that now. So that is how ECC had one director in the board throughout for 70 years. Because I made 1, 2, 3, 4, each one became 25,000 plus. And I said, if you become 25,000, I can take you on the board. But it is not 25,000. You have to make minimum 1,000 crore profit or more. So this is how from one director now there are 4. Nobody was looking at ECC. Believe me, till I came. Oh, they were on their own. They were autonomous, company by itself. If Rangaswamy had not invited me, I would have possibly ignored it. Possibly, I'm not sure. Or accepted as it goes. When I took, or rather I acted on it, it was 3% profit of ECC. And today, ECC makes out of 12,000 crore, about 4,500 crore. But you will be surprised, two IT companies together make more than 3,500. So, and then from ECC, when I went in 2006, is the first time I met S.N. Subramaniam. I never met before. I didn't even know he exists. But I thought that there is a possibility that this man can come up. So we used to, because some chairman used to say, we want only chairman. So S.N. Subramaniam told me we have to go because the Delhi airport and Bangalore airport, GM Rao, to meet. And then he saw how I negotiated. He sent me many tweets like this. Sir, this is okay, accept. I just put it aside and got 2% more. So he witnessed that. So he has seen how I work for years. And he is following, I think, in the manner company will grow, and I'm very happy with SNS. I know in next 10 to 12 years, what I have in mind, that the company should really go market cap-wise to 75 to 80 billion.
Correct. No, but the point I'm making is, since many of these businesses are significantly scaled already, isn't there room to spin them out? Or you're saying that's difficult because they're all interdependent?
Yeah, they are all interdependent. We tried earlier, or we thought of it, but then what happens in project business, that you can go up and you can come down because people are not spending money. So consistently, any single project to continuously do well is a rare possibility worldwide. Second thing I want to tell you, we are the only company which has not gone down globally. Even a mighty floor for civilian technique has been good, so that has remained. But about 28 companies have gone down. Then maybe out of 28, 20 companies came up again. So one day I was sitting with the chairman of one of the EPC company of America, and he was very prominent, this man, politically also in America. And we were having a lunch. Competitor in a way, and customer in a way. If he gets a big project, heavy engineering gets all the reactors and this and that. So he said, why don't we buy all the EPC company of America between you and me? That means I and him. So we started calculating market cap. First wheeler, 3 billion, this billion, this billion. Bechtel is private, so we don't know. Then his own. I said, what is your market cap? So he said 4 billion. Then he asked me, what is yours? So I said, only 22 billion. That time was 22. He said, you can buy all of us. So
why didn't you?
No. Well, America mein jaake humko, they all lost money, though being American. American unions and the cost high. I mean, that's why India has a huge opportunity. I think India has this, not only but multiple decades to really come up as a internationally number 3 companies.
Correct. Now, Deepak Parekh, Rahul Bajaj, Keshav Mahindra, Vicky Oberoi, Uday Kotak, the original Dadas have all stepped down. So have you. Mr. Bajaj, Mr. Oberoi unfortunately passed away. If you had to pick up 3 or 4 leaders of today who have made their mark, who have impressed you, who would they be?
You mean in the industry?
Industry.
Well, like Rahul Bajaj, 2 sons are doing very well. One on the industry side, there is two and 3 wheelers, and one on the final, NBFC. Same way, Mr. Anand Mahindra is still there. Chandrasekhar has done a good job.
But today's generation, when they talk about your generation, they admire a lot, but they also criticize, saying this is a generation that did not let go. They continued, and in fact, they continued forever. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
It's a fair assessment if somebody deliberately does not create successor. I wanted to step down in 2012. And there was a person who was nominated. It was announced that he will be the next CEO, effective the date when I was going to step down. Not a chairman, like Subramaniam was a CEO, not a chairman. And I was to become a non-executive chairman in 2012. One day before, because we got hydrocarbon projects in Middle East, that time we lost maybe 2.5, 3,000 crore. And to sort that out, clean that up, that man who was appointed as CEO will only be able to manage according to the man who was the chairman of that vertical. And they had a 5-member selection committee. So the board asked me last day, the day before, instead of non-executive chairman, can you 5 years continue as executive chairman? Only because of that. It is not that I was not willing to leave even 5 years before. I only made a rule that all the directors will retire at 67, and they retire. And the CEO will retire at 70. But then they called me last day. When it became 75, by the time I had a very good successor in Subramaniam, mentored by me, and I myself suggested to the board that we should now make Subramaniam CEO and I'll become non-executive chairman. One member, who is always very difficult to handle, was saying it should have gone through NRC and all that. I said to him, I'm like a promoter, but professional. 92% of L&T I've created. You can check up. And I've saved L&T, that's why you are there and I am there. I would have worked somewhere else. So, you don't have to, I say all of you are appointed by me only, even including him. So, he didn't tell me, he was telling others, independent directors. And then Subramaniam told me you preempted because that man had a hope of becoming a non-executive chairman. But I knew no outsider will succeed in most complicated and complex. Successor planning is the most important job. Why? It is not important to see what you are today. You have to also leave behind a legacy which create value. And what you are doing of successor planning will take L&T to future. So now we have Subramaniam who will be there for 10 years. And 10 years from now, we may be 100 billion.
Correct.
I may or may not be there.
But many would say, where has Mr. Nayak left? He's left the company, but he is still the single largest shareholder through the...
Not he. I am not employees are.
Okay.
I'm not the single largest shareholder.
Okay. But you are the chairman of the Employees Trust. Yes, you represent the employees. So it's like Mr. Ratan Tata. He is given the baton to Chandra to run the companies, but he's still there in the trust. Likewise, Mr. Nayak may have left L&T, but he still has a very large influence on the company through the Employees Trust.
Employees Trust was actually started by me. I am there because all the employees expect me to be at least visible and say, Mr. Nayak is still there. But I don't influence Subramaniam at all. That is my way of working. This is my office. Most of the time, I do philanthropic work from this office. Like I'm going to school now, which is a much smaller responsibility than what I have been. But I take it in stride that, okay, I mean, now we want to do something for the society, something for the people. And there is no question of small and big. It is a profession we have changed for the sake of society. So I don't think that is relevant, what you are saying. And you can ask any employee. They'll tell you, Mr. Nayak should be there or not there. You ask.
Yes, Mr. A.M. Nayak has built L&T, but often he behaves like a bully. Is A.M. Nayak a bully?
A.M. Nayak is dynamic, not bully.
Okay.
And you have to be dynamic to build a corporation like this. From nothing, 5,000 crore to 2,10,000 crore. So whoever has told you, I know. And if Let me say it was my mistake to have him on the board.
Do you remember the 73rd AGM of L&T? For some, it remains forever etched in the memory when shareholders were thrown out of the meeting because they had questioned about a hospital parcel land. Was it a dark moment in L&T's history?
Not at all.
Were they motivated, you feel, in asking those questions?
No, because I did not take the land. The hospital is there because it was to be given to government. 20% land has to be given to government. So we took government permission. Can we put a hospital? And they said, well, if it is for public good, do it. And I said, I'm doing it for poor people. It is not for affluent people.
Right.
So the man who did that did not know the background. I have never done anything for the benefit of me. Never. If I wanted, I could have retired very peacefully. Right now I have a foot problem, but gone around the world, which I have, though gone many times, never seen anything.
3 acquisitions. You talked about one where you were the target. But
like what?
Like 3 acquisitions, for example, one was Satyam. Yours was a better bid. You didn't get it, Tech Mahindra did. Did you felt let down by some who claimed to be your friends?
I know what you mean, but his price were lower than us.
That's what I said. That despite being the highest bidder, the company was not given to you. So where you did...
No, I had to be there. I was not the highest bidder. They were. I tell you what happened. This is what happens when accountants come. You should have a real MBA finance man as a company. Company finance man. He came and said, now, Satyam price have dropped. Can we buy? I was not. He came and asked me in a meeting like this. So I said, okay, you buy. They bought at 125. Price went down to 35. We went on acquiring at 125, 100, did that. So I knew average price is required to be 55. But I could not do it because I had a pile up of stock, which was much higher than 50. So we quoted 65 or 67. And he got it. No, he quoted 48 and he got it. That is how it happened. If we were not the highest bidder, which we were not, because I had to bid to average out to 56, I had to bid 48. Because I had a pile up of 5% at 100, 135. So if their bid was 56, 57, mine was 47, 48, rightfully, they got it.
Mindtree. People said that you really pressed the nuclear button on Mindtree. Was it necessary?
I did not press, first of all.
Okay.
Siddharth, from whom we bought 22%, was sitting here. He came 4 or 5 times and met SNS and Sankaraman Finance and offered 950 rupees a share, which is what private equity had offered. And Siddharth, before going away, asked them whether can I meet the chairman. So they brought him. They were sitting here, Subramaniam, Sankaraman, and Siddharth. I'm very friendly that way. I'm not a bully. I'm dynamic to achieve what we want to achieve. So I asked him, Siddharth, what do you want? Tell me. He said, I have been offered 950 rupees. Private equity is giving me 950. So I say, it is good, nah? Industry is taking. Private equity is not going to worry about employees.
Correct.
So he said, I want little more price. So I said, how little is little? So he said, you decide. So I got up, like Birla also I got up and shook my head to his hand and I said 981. So he shook hand and that was that. Then merged. It was not bullying, it was not a nuclear button, nothing.
We had talked about the 2 attempts made by Dhirubhai, then Birla's. How was Dhirubhai like to deal with?
He was a very nice man, but very ambitious. From the point of view of his company, but as a person he was nice. He was practical, he was ground. The person who understands the ground level reality. He visited our factory and after seeing the factory, he said, oh, they're too small. Why don't you make it big? So now it is 8 times bigger.
I wanted to know that if there's one thing or one change you wish you had seen while you were still steering the ship in L&T, what would that change be? It could be a change in India that could have had an impact on L&T or vice versa.
See, change is continuous. Every year there is a change. Change in technology, change in the way you work, the way the attrition takes place in employees, and how you bring new employees, train them, new leaders. Change is always there. And how you manage the change very, very competently and efficiently, and that makes the organization move forward.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you which one.
Okay.
Everything has to move in tandem.
Now, as we end 2023, what would you say is L&T's greatest opportunity and its greatest challenge?
The greatest challenge you take over.
वो तो अभी मुमकिन नहीं.
No, that was the greatest challenge. We would not have remained.
Correct, but I'm talking about today. Would you say AI? Would you say some, automation?
See, the point is automation is what L&T did for last 30 years.
Right.
But that was when it comes to manufacturing and that too using machine tools. Now, AI is a way of life and it is in all spectrum of what we do. There can be AI in defense, there can be AI in social work. It is all pervasive. And that is something nobody can avoid if you want to keep up with time.
True.
That we will do, and I think everybody will do. So I don't see that challenge is that we must get the best leaders. That is the challenge, and the next level and the next level. The employees and the least of attrition. Because they are going to make the company click.
Yeah.
That is going to be the biggest challenge. Because there are many opportunities opening up, which were not there. Today, the whole new world has come. And there are people coming back from abroad now to work in India. And you will see in the next 5 years, as India moves forward, more and more foreign trained employees may come and take up a job in India. They will continuously give a challenge to the people you have. Second, since we are more or less number one in what we do, the rest of our competitor wants to source people from us. If I look at infrastructure industry, every CEO is from L&T, ex-L&T. And that is our biggest challenge. Today, we can't take more jobs because we don't have skilled manpower. We have 3,25,000 people working in the field and we want 5 lakhs. If I want to expand even faster. So, people is going to be the biggest challenge. And how you manage that, how you inspire them, and how you make them stick to L&T.
Correct. And the biggest opportunity?
Biggest opportunity, I think, is for L&T is how the technology transformation. L&T is a major contributor to that. And green industry, green power. Now, a lot has been done by Adani and Ambani and few others, but we are not in that game. We are in the game of making equipment for green power, hydropower, like electrolyzer to start with. We have already made first electrolyzer prototype, and now we are getting into a industry which will sell electrolyzer to start with. We have a good tie-up, 2 of them in green power. And I think 1 year, 2 years from now, you will find L&T's name, like we have done in many other industries, like heavy industry became international, nuclear, we are number 1, aerospace in private sector, we are number 1, defense in private sector, we are number 1. Similarly, I think I told Subramaniam, you have to be number 1 or 2, otherwise don't even get into it. That is my policy. So that is going to be the biggest opportunity. And of course, your current businesses are so much on solid foundation that you have to keep growing there. So let me put the basket of 100 from the current businesses giving new opportunities, peripheral, and growing that to be international player should contribute 70-75% of what you will do in next 5 years. And 25% should come from new opportunities I described. And again, I want to tell that no small things, because too much time is wasted on doing small things. And if you don't know how to make small things big, don't even try.
So that was 2 unforgettable days and hours of absolute free-flowing conversation with the legendary figure A.M. Naik. We had to edit it for time, of course. Over savory snacks, endless cups of coffee, and even a meal, stories unfolded and bonds were forged, making it truly a memorable journey. That's all from our side. I'm Arijit Barman, your host for this episode, and you've been tuned in to The Morning Brief. A big shout out to Surohini Jain and Sumit Pandey, our episode producers. Indranil Bhattacharjee and Rajesh Naik were the sound designers. Executive producers Anupriya Nair, Anirban Chaudhary, and yours truly. We appreciate you tuning in. If this episode left you inspired or entertained, don't keep it to yourself. Share the magic on your social media platforms and with friends, family, peers, and colleagues. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring with us. A new episode of the Morning Brief podcast drops every Tuesday, Thursdays, and Friday. But since you've been craving for more, we have been dropping an episode midweek on Wednesdays too. The Morning Brief streams on Amazon Prime Music, JioSaavn, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. And of course, ET's own audio platform, ET Play. Have a great week ahead.